If I have to hear one more prayer about make her love me back, I'm smiting someone. Right? Like, my guy, she left you unread twice. Take the hint. Almighty gods present to you a most exquisitely prepared gift, and we give this gift 4 times wrapped for you. 4 times wrapped? Dude, did we order something on Amazon? I don't know, but this guy sounds way too excited about wrapping. And oh boy, was he. Because when the Celts sacrificed someone, they didn't half-ass it. First, they'd take their unlucky victim, probably some prisoner, criminal, or just some dude who looked at a druid funny, and smash his head open like a dropped watermelon, but that wasn't enough. Then they'd strangle him to make extra sure he was dead. Then, just for good measure, they'd slash his stomach open, in case his soul needed a quick escape route. Okay, now we can throw him in the bog. Wait, let's stab him one more time. You really need to talk to someone. And then, yet, into the bog he goes. Bogs are basically ancient refrigerators. No oxygen, super acidic, basically nature's slow cooker, but in reverse. Instead of rotting, the body just stays there, forever. Hair intact, skin looking like an old leather couch, sometimes even facial expressions frozen in time. Oh my gods, that's what he meant by 4 times wrapped? Yeah, dude, we need to stop answering prayers. Fast forward 2,000 years, some archaeologist pokes around and finds a dude who looks like he died last week. Tolland Man? Still has a face. Lindo Man? Died so hard, they killed him 3 different ways. Some of these bog bodies even have visible stubble, meaning they were alive and well before someone turned them into human beef jerky. This guy's been dead for 2,000 years and still looks better than me. Everybody looks better than you, bro. Ouch. This is Zipetotec, the Our Lord the Flayed One, the god of agriculture, renewal. The Aztecs believed that just like a snake shedding its skin, or crops losing their husk, human skin needed to be shed for new life to grow. Very poetic, very gross. Zipetotec's big thing was shedding skin. The Aztecs thought that by shedding a victim's skin, they were reenacting what Zipetotec did to himself. So how did they celebrate this beautiful, yet horrifying concept? With a little festival called Tlacagzipehulistli. Yeah, try saying that 3 times fast. Hell, try saying it once without sounding like you're summoning an ancient demon. This literally means the flaying of men. Yeah, no metaphors here. They were straight up warning you in the title. First, they would find the sacrifice. No, they didn't just grab Tatihi from down the street. They specifically chose captured enemy warriors for this, because nothing says absolute dominance like taking the guy who tried to stab you last month and turning him into a meat coat. So they'd drag these poor dudes up the temple pyramid, cut open their chests with obsidian knives, and rip their hearts out like they were trying to win a Mortal Kombat fatality. Next, they skinned the body, by hand, with stone knives. Then came the worst fashion statement in human history. A priest would take the fresh dripping skin and wear it like a high-end fur coat.
How do you like my new fur coat?
And we're not talking about a 5-minute ceremonial put it on and take it off situation. They wore this rotting human skin for days, walking through the city, mingling with the people, just casually decomposing in public. Hey man, your arm fell off. Yeah, no worries. I got another one underneath. And because this wasn't disturbing enough already, the skin would eventually start to peel, rot, and reek to high heaven, which was exactly the point. As the flesh decayed, it symbolized rebirth, renewal, and the growth of new crops, which is super deep and all, but maybe we could have achieved the same thing by, I don't know, planting a tree? Oh, and because the Aztecs were the overachievers of human sacrifice, the festival also included gladiator-style fights. The contestant was a tied-up, weaponless prisoner, and his opponents? Fully armed Aztec warriors. Absolute bloodbath. Oh, come on, at least give me a stick or something. Seriously? Use it wisely. Oh yeah, great, I'll just tickle you into surrender. Hey, worth a shot. Okay, never mind. Finally, when the skin was rotted beyond recognition, it was either discarded or placed in a golden shrine, which is possibly the most aggressively unhygienic way to honor your gods. So, back in the 5th century BCE, Persia had this whole empire thing going on, and like any good empire, they needed a signature way to deal with people who really pissed them off. Scaphism. This was not just a punishment, it was a statement, a slow, excruciatingly painful death designed to make sure everyone in the vicinity learned a very graphic lesson about staying on the king's good side. First, They'd take the unlucky victim and strap them between two wooden boats, one on the bottom, one on top, leaving the arms, legs, and head exposed. Hey, guys, what's happening? Oh, nothing. Just a little river cruise. Then they'd force feed the poor guy a mix of milk and honey until he was thoroughly bloated and probably wishing he was lactose intolerant. Oh, my stomach hurts. Buddy, you're going to wish that was the worst part. Because here's the thing, milk and honey weren't just there to make you violently sick, which they did. They had another purpose, attracting insects. And let me tell you, Persia had a lot of bugs, flies, wasps, ants, maggots, literally nature's worst. And now they had a human buffet. The victim would be left floating on a swamp, river, or just in the open, where the bugs would start their feast. The force-fed all that milk and honey didn't stay inside for long. The victim would eventually violently crap themselves, which, in a tightly enclosed space like a boat, just created the perfect breeding ground for more insects. At first, it's just annoying. Ew, bugs, shoo. By day 2, flies are laying eggs in your skin. By day 5, maggots are holding a family reunion inside your flesh. Hey, why is my leg moving on its own? Oh, that's just Steve the maggot. He's redecorating. At this point, the victim is still alive, rotting, covered in their own filth, and being literally eaten from the inside out by bugs. The process could take days, even weeks. At some point, gangrene and sepsis would set in, and if the infection didn't kill them first, the sheer agony, dehydration, or blood loss eventually would. The executioners would keep them alive as long as possible by continuing to force feed them, because dying too fast would just be wasting a perfectly good punishment. Please, just let me go. Nah, open wide. Here comes the tuk-tuk horse, bottoms up. Now, who came up with this delightful execution method? Historians believe it was first described by the Greeks, specifically Plutarch. And, of course, the Greeks and Persians were not besties, so take this with a grain of salt. There's actually a recorded case of this happening. A Persian soldier named Mithridates was sentenced to Scaphism for killing King Artaxerxes II's brother, and, according to historical accounts, he lasted 17 days. 17 days, before he finally gave up the fight and died in the most nightmarish way imaginable. Bro, I stubbed my toe and it hurt for like an hour. Yeah, this guy was being eaten alive by bugs for 2.5 weeks. Okay, I'll stop complaining. The Egyptians used to dig up dead bodies and throw full-blown ragers with them. This was a spiritual ritual. Egyptians believed that sometimes the spirits of the dead got lazy. Living relatives think that a deceased family member doesn't deliver enough good luck and blessings from the afterlife. All right, that's it. Time to teach Great Uncle Ramses a lesson. First, dig the guy up. Doesn't matter if he'd been chilling in his tomb for years, he was getting an unwanted invite to the next party. Then the complaining begins. Egyptians would air out all their grievances, yelling at the mummy like a customer service rep who just put them on hold for 40 minutes. Uncle Thutmose, my rent's due, and the boss at the pyramid construction site still pays me in experience. No actual pay, just hard labor. My wife says she's finding herself, and now she's finding the neighbor too. You were a priest. Put in a good word with Osiris before I start using your bandages as toilet paper. This wasn't some solemn, serious ritual. It was a whole-ass drinking party. Wine, food, music, the works. People would gather around the corpse, drink, feast, and just start swinging. Mummy abuse in the name of good fortune. If your family couldn't afford a proper mummy, no worries. You could rent one. Welcome to mummy rental service. Can I get one mummy for a party? Sure. Just bring him back in one piece. Define one piece. Eventually, once the poor corpse had heard enough complaints, they'd put him back in the tomb, expecting better blessings in return. Herodotus, in Book 2 of Histories, writes about how Egyptians believed that the deceased had ongoing responsibilities in the afterlife, influencing the fate of the living. If a spirit was slacking off, you had to do something to get their attention, hence the idea of waking them up. So, back in ancient India, if your husband died, society had a hot new plan for you: human firewood. Didn't matter if you were 16 or 60. If you were a widow, you were expected to yeet yourself into his funeral pyre, because nothing says true love like forced spontaneous combustion. The name, Sati, comes from a Hindu legend where the goddess Sati, different Sati, same bad life choice, jumped into a fire because her husband, Shiva, was being disrespected. Wow, what a devoted wife. Yeah, we should make all widows do that. Wait, that's not the message. Shh, patriarchy time. By 400 BCE, Sati became an actual practice, mostly among warrior and royal families. The logic was simple. Option 1, be a widow and live a cursed, miserable life. Option 2, get burned alive and be worshipped as a pure and devoted wife. Gee, I wonder which one society encouraged. And being a widow wasn't just sad. It was bad luck. Your husband died. Clearly, it was your fault. You weren't just grieving. You were shunned, banned from celebrations, and stripped of everything. And don't think this was some quiet, solemn event. Sati was a full-blown festival. Crowds gathered, music played, priests chanted, and the widow, either willingly or unwillingly, was dressed up like a bride one last time before stepping into the flames. Some got drugs to numb the pain, others fully conscious. And once you were in, no takebacks. Hey, so I was thinking maybe Too late, you're already on fire. Well, this sucks. And the worst part? People actually celebrated it. Families bragged about how many satis they had. Oh, your family had 3 satis? That's cute. We had 7. True devotion. Oh, and in case you were wondering, no, husbands were never expected to do this if their wives died. Because of course they weren't. Some people tried to stop this mess. Mughal emperors like Akbar in the 1500s tried to stop it, but people gave him thumbs up and kept doing it. Then, in 1829, the British banned Sati under Lord William Bentinck. Did that stop people? Nope. They just did it in secret. And it didn't fully stop in modern times either. The most infamous case, 1987, Roop Kanwar. An 18-year-old widow was burned alive and some villagers celebrated it. And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for watching.